Have you ever felt the sting of being misunderstood and rushed to fix it just to feel even smaller afterward? Have you ever been baited into explaining yourself only to regret giving away that piece of clarity you should have kept? And have you noticed how every reaction, no matter how honest, often ends up being used against you? Here's the truth. They're not trying to beat you. They're trying to make you beat yourself. They won't swing swords at you. They'll use silence, sarcasm, and shame. They'll push buttons, drop subtle digs, question your worth, all just to see if you'll flinch. And most people do. They react, they defend, they justify, they explain, until all the power drains from their voice like a leaky faucet. That's the trap. The moment you react, you lose the advantage. Not because you were wrong, but because you showed you could be moved. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He didn't waste time trying to be loved or even liked. He knew that true power, real dominance, comes from one thing: emotional restraint. Not indifference, not numbness, but silence with teeth. When someone tries to provoke you and you stay still, that stillness hits harder than any outburst ever could, because stillness forces them to confront themselves. It leaves them alone with their insecurity and no emotional echo to lean on. This isn't just about ignoring, it's about withholding. Your energy, your words, your reactions, their currency. And the people who need to control you are banking on you spending all of it, fast. But when you don't, they spiral. They analyze your silence. They project motives onto your calm. They confuse your detachment with power, because it is. You see, in a world addicted to reaction, the person who doesn't respond becomes unpredictable. And unpredictable people are terrifying, because if they can't read you, they can't control you. If they can't decode you, they can't prepare for you. And when people can't prepare, they panic. Most people think control means dominance. They think it's about speaking last, arguing best, shouting louder. But real control, it's not in the noise. It's in the ability to sit completely still while the world throws every emotional grenade it has, and never even blink. That's not passivity, that's precision. You are no longer here to be understood. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be unreadable, unshaken, unstoppable. And that begins the moment you stop giving away your reactions like spare change. Think about this. Every time you argue with someone who's not even listening, you train them to disrespect your time. Every time you justify a boundary, you teach them it's negotiable. Every time you over-explain yourself, you shrink your presence. But when you speak rarely, move intentionally, and refuse to respond on demand, you reclaim all of it. Let them guess. Let them fill the silence with their assumptions. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Because mystery is power. The people who speak least are remembered most, not because they're aloof, but because they've mastered restraint. This isn't emotional suppression, it's emotional warfare. You don't hide your emotions, you deploy them, like weapons, not confessions. And not everyone deserves to see what you feel. Not everyone has earned access to your fire. Let's make something clear. Nonchalance isn't about apathy, it's about edge. The man who appears calm in a storm isn't weak. He's lethal, because he's not just enduring pressure, he's calculating under it. He's not resisting the bait. He's letting the enemy wear themselves out trying to land a punch on a ghost. That's what it means to be untouchable, to feel everything, but show nothing, to stay grounded while others are set on fire, trying to shake you. And that takes discipline. It takes learning to sit in discomfort without trying to fix it. It takes letting people misjudge you, and being fine with it. It takes killing the part of you that needs to be seen clearly just to feel okay. People will test you with silence to see if you'll fill it. They'll insult you softly to see if you'll erupt. They'll pretend not to care about your presence just to see if you'll beg to be noticed. But when you don't move, when you don't explain, when you let their tactics pass through you like smoke, you become a force they can't touch. Because you've broken the feedback loop. You've stopped giving them emotional data to work with. No reactions, no facial tics, no apologies, no desperate clarifications. They can't decode you because you're not transmitting anything. And that absence, that unreadable stillness, it terrifies them. Because in a world built on constant expression, the one who holds their expression hostage controls the room. It's no longer about who talks the most. It's about who can wait the longest, who can stand there in silence and let the discomfort do the damage. You want to dominate any situation? Be the one who doesn't react. Don't respond to every text. Don't chase every compliment. Don't defend every move. Let them wonder. Let them sit in uncertainty. Because when they don't know what you're thinking, they start adjusting their behavior around your silence. They walk lighter. They speak softer. They look at you like you're holding something sacred. Because you are, your control. This is how the balance of power shifts without a word. The louder they get, the calmer you remain. And calm is threatening when it's not expected. Weak people break under pressure. Strong people break in private. But the ones who never break in front of you, those are the ones who rule the room, the relationship, the dynamic. Understand this. Every time you defend yourself unnecessarily, you tell the world you're unsure. Every time you justify your boundary, you show that it's bendable. Every time you overshare your emotion, you hand someone else the blueprint to manipulate you. But when your calm becomes your standard, when your default is silence, not performance, your presence becomes intimidating without ever turning aggressive. People will ask if you're okay. They'll ask what you're thinking. They'll accuse you of being distant, cold, too quiet. Let them. What they're really saying is, you're not playing the game I'm used to. And they're right, you're not playing. You're winning by refusing to enter the ring in the first place. Because most people are controlled by fear, by shame, by approval addiction. They need to be liked, so they perform. They fear being misunderstood, so they overshare. They crave attention, so they shout. But you let them talk. You let them flail. You let them burn all their energy trying to decode someone who's already 3 moves ahead. And when you finally speak, every word lands like a blade. This is psychological warfare. This is Machiavellian presence. This is the art of controlled detachment. It's not that you don't feel, it's that you've trained yourself not to hand your power to every emotion that visits you. You've stopped being a mirror. Now you're a wall. They bounce off of you again and again, while you stay unmoved, unaffected, and unreadable. Because once you understand that not every situation requires your reaction, you start responding only when it matters. And that scarcity makes every move, every sentence, every silence carry weight. You're not avoiding conflict. You're choosing your battlefield. And when it's time to strike, you'll do it clean, without warning, without noise. No one sees it coming because you trained them to think you were silent, when in truth you were just saving your fire. So now they orbit you. They overthink everything they say around you. They look for signs, for shifts, for cracks, but there are none. You've made yourself untouchable by becoming emotionally sovereign. And sovereignty doesn't explain. It doesn't apologize. It doesn't beg to be seen. It simply is. You walk into the room and everything tightens. Not because you demanded attention, because your presence withdraws it from others. They feel your silence before you speak. They question themselves just by standing near you. That's real power. Not the kind that shouts, the kind that commands quietly. So if you've felt yourself explaining too much, reacting too fast, justifying things that don't need justification, stop. Start training in silence. Start practicing restraint like it's a ritual. Start becoming the person who doesn't move unless it's on their terms. Because the man who shows nothing, needs nothing, reacts to nothing, is the man no one wants to cross. That's not arrogance. That's nonchalance. That's weaponized calm. So let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them feel uneasy in your silence. Let them talk. You don't have to speak to be understood. You only need to act once and make it count. And when you do, they'll remember it forever. If this spoke to you, it's because a part of you already knows. You were never meant to be emotionally available to everyone. You were meant to become unreadable, unshakable, untamable. And that's not just your strength, that's your legacy.